session at the end of the session, so please do pay attention, and I'm sure you're going to have a swell time. Thank you very much for showing up, Oida Energy enthusiast. Looking forward to this session with all of us. Thank you so much.
There is currently a CV review and mentorship moment at Sepa Energy. The time is now. Only for 1 hour, there will be a CV review and mentorship moment at Sepa Energy. The time is now. Head over to Sepa Energy booth for a CV review and mentorship moment.
Hold up to your mouth like this. First of all, I just want to say a huge thank you to Dorcas for that lovely introduction. A very good morning to all of you all here. Welcome, as you said, to the Oida Fireside Chat. This is the second installation of it. My name is Adefemi. Akinsanya. I'm a broadcast journalist and international correspondent and anchor at Paradise News, based here in Lagos. And if you're just joining us, you're joining us at such an excellent time. We are here discussing the challenges of Nigeria and Africa's energy. We have the objective to realize Nigeria and Africa's contributing to African energy. To do that is to make the general public as informed as possible, because as we know, information is power. So to that effect, it is my honor to be joined alongside the chairman of He is someone whose career I have followed about my own career. I started out as a business journalist, so it is an honor to finally be in the presence. And for the past 40 years, our guest has done the great art of developing energy across the African continent.
The controlling them so that they move
It is my pleasure to welcome Dr. Layi Fatona. Many people here are very keen to listen to your insight when it comes to African and Nigerian cities when it comes to energy exploration. But I would love to really start with you on a personal level. Please do talk to us about how it is you found yourself within this industry. And as I said, you've been a dominant force within oil and gas for the past 40 years. So firstly, talk us about your entrance. Was it intentional? How have you found yourself here at the present?
Well, thank you very much. This is a family story. I don't always like to tell.
Head over to Bell Restaurant now for the second session. There are lots of prizes to be won, ranging from earbuds, Android phones, and smartwatches.
Wants to be a geologist, and he said,
Currently ongoing at CHAT002 is a free eye test and consultation. Stop by to get your eyes checked at the CHAT002. There is an opportunity to chat with several professionals on career and work life. opportunity to chat right with seminal strong officials on career and work advice.
I guess when the flag was raised,
Do you want to become a member of SP? If yes, make your way to the SP pavilion in front of the exhibition hall to register. There are lots of benefits to gain from being a member of the SP. If you want to become a member of the SP, make your way down to the SP pavilion in front of the exhibition hall to register. There are lots of amazing benefits to gain from being a member of the SP.
So, next question was, shall I
what do you expect? Four Nigerian companies. First EMP, ND West End. We had bought OMA 34 from Shell. And we looked at ourselves and said,
Congratulations.
thank you very much.
And I'm so glad that you've already started talking about the challenges. You talked about the egos in the room, the big manism, and it takes a lot to navigate that and more challenging you have continued to spearhead. And I'm glad you mentioned the NDEV, the National Delta Exhibition of Revolution, PLC, and how they have continued to really grow outside just not Nigeria. There is a presence South Sudan and the cities to us about that expansion and even that opportunity to take energy in Nigeria continent-wide.
There will be a friendly presentation of conductor planning service.
East Africa it's a hub away. The East African oil and gas industry was evolving, and so we went to Uganda. At Uganda, we participated in the bidding exercise. We were successful, and then sadly, the government said you have to pair up with somebody else. And we looked at the profile of the entity, then we didn't meet our expectations. So we then said, no, we weren't going to do this. And right in Uganda, somebody said, have you looked across the border? So across the border was South Sudan. South Sudan was just coming out of war.
Yes.
It was a very, very young country. It was like about 1 or 2 years out of a very, very long war. So I was emboldened. We actually drove into Juba.
Wow.
From Uganda. That was a very, very unusual experience.
Drive a whole night.
Join us at the Renaissance booth now as women in the charge and industry share valuable insights on fostering a diverse workforce for a sustainable energy future. The time is now. Join us at the Renaissance booth as women lead the charge in industry.
That was coming out of war with such a profile was
Energy future. The time is now. The Renaissance booth.
we were appointed the operator of that entity. So today we own 51% of that company. So the rest is story.
I think that is worthy of a huge round of applause.
That company had stayed on to Juba.
Absolutely.
And that's just it. And we just believe we could replicate what we have done in Nigeria somewhere else.
I just believe that what you have already done in Nigeria can be done somewhere else. And it's so good because I think that if you were to stop the average person today, they would have reservation on going to South Sudan, much less going in at a time where the country had just started to war and years of very many civil war. So that speaks to resilience and your vision to see that this is worth the risk and your legitimate risk. So when you look back over the course of your career, it seems as though you needed to see how within the oil and gas industry in Nigeria across
For me, is that Nigeria needs Nigerians to develop itself.
Okay. Well, I mean, when we talk about the word energy expert, I think it can often be thrown around quite flagrantly, but it's definitely fitting for you. So when we're looking at the actual challenges befuddling the industry as it stands now, what would you say the biggest challenges are, and what ideas do you have to really overcome them?
Well, the biggest challenge that people do not recognize is human capital. And I say this with all due respect because everybody in this room, you couldn't pick many of them from the street. Human capital for the energy industry is a very specialized talent, very specialized skills, and it's not everybody.
This is the surplus to love to engage with them. There is an opportunity to start life with surplus young professionals for career and work advice. This is the surplus to now to engage with them. Also offering a surplus booth in the free eye test and consultation. Stop by and get your eyes checked. Offering a surplus booth in the free eye test and consultation. Stop by and get your eyes checked.
But remember, those companies created the facade for development of human capital. And I think for us, wherever we are today, human capital development should be a very, very strong platform that we must hold on to, develop, invest in, to ensure that when we are an aging fleet, as far as I'm concerned, we need to replace ourselves.
Definitely.
And that is why I believe human capital is number one challenge.
Absolutely. So Nigeria, as we all know, has a huge population, a well-educated population, as you mentioned to the people inside this room. So it's about harnessing the human capital, as you said. It sounds like you're very excited for the future. So when you are looking at the trends across the industry, what excites you the most?
Well, most of the thing is we are energy disorder. Group of people. And I think the excitement for me comes from the fact that whether we like it or not, these people will grow. They will need energy. That energy has to be available. It has to be affordable. And it has to be in a very sustained manner, not just being available, but also available and be there for people to charge that phone.
Yes.
It's a very energy-hungry youth that we have. They don't know how hungry they are about power, but we know. And they would continuously be hungry for energy. They must buy cars. They must use air conditioners. They must do literally everything that requires energy. So the vibrancy is inherent in the population.
Absolutely. I'm so glad you mentioned that, because absolutely that's the case. People need energy to charge their phones, to drive their cars. People need light in their homes in order for their homes to be thriving. Children need light in order to do their homework. So when we're talking about the importance of making sure that energy is accessible, it really does mean trickling down to everybody who needs it. So when we are talking about increasing energy access, in what ways do you think the private sector can be helped or can help in order to address the huge divide when it comes to energy access within Nigeria specifically?
First and foremost, the environment to thrive as a business has to Everybody believes there's no capital in Nigeria. I don't really believe so. There's little money in many pockets that if you know how to get those little pieces of money, they come to a lot. I mean, people ask us at Niger Delta, how did we get started? We were raising capital from people in the streets, 50,000 naira, 100,000 naira. Anybody who looked good, I remember I followed them through. I asked them, do you want to invest in our company? It was tough, but that's how we did it. So I believe there's non-working capital, little capital in the pockets of so many people, and it is very, very important that we have a means of harnessing and harvesting all this capital. So Nigeria would need a lot of capital for business to survive.
Yes.
But that capital, again, I am sorry to say, we must have to find a way of how that capital is going to be from within.
Yes. Has to be from within Nigeria. And even when the capital arrives, the ease of doing business also has to improve. You know, when we talk about oil and gas, it often has a negative reputation, especially when we're looking at the backdrop of climate change, of global warming. And then you've got the likes of far more developed industries in the world, the likes of the United States, and definitely United Kingdom and mainland Europe, who talk increasingly about green energy, about renewable energy, but that's after they've been able to build their countries and build their economies with fossil fuels. It seems as though there is the argument that perhaps they don't want the developing world to be able to reap the benefits of its own energy resources. And they're using the narrative of focusing on renewable energy to really downplay that. How do you strike the balance? Is there a balance? What is or should be the priority if we're still focusing on making sure that everyone has access to energy in an increasingly in a world where people are far more aware about global ramifications? Where do you think the balance should be struck?
I think the balance it's got to be very selfish in context. You drive out of Lagos or any of the big cities anytime after 7 o'clock, then the reality gets at you. Darkness, pervasive darkness. So energy availability and penetration, it's still very, very poor. So let us think for once that every Nigerian deserves to have the energy that he wants, when he wants it, affordably, sustainably. So if we start from that very basic principle that everybody needs energy in Nigeria, so whether we get that energy from green resources or from fossil fuels, it's a neat conversation. But the balance is this. No doubt there's change in global climate.
Yes.
We need to be responsible about that. I mean, all day yesterday, it rained a lot in Lagos. And it's not just in Lagos, all over Nigeria.
Yes.
The consequences of very, very high rainfall. Usually, we always say August break. I don't know, has anybody seen any August break this year?
Not yet.
So that's a very, very strong pointer that the climate is actually changing. And we all have a responsibility towards contributing towards maintenance of a healthy environment. But my belief is that for us in Nigeria, before we start to talk about green energy, let us first of all talk about energy for everybody, energy for all. Let everybody have access to energy. Let everybody be able to afford energy. Let everybody, the choice to put on the light in your house ought to be yours.
Absolutely.
It is not that you should be in darkness simply because there's no energy to power the bulbs in your house.
Yes.
So, for me, I think the narrative is very, very simple. Nigerians need to have energy first.
Yes.
And that energy, to have it, let us not force ourselves about debating in what form, whether it's green energy or fossil energy.
Yes.
But for me, where I come from, I'm very unrepentant
Yes.
in the context that the energy, the fossil energy, the fossil fuel is going to remain a resource in Nigeria that we have not used optimally for our benefit.
Yes.
And as long as it is there, there's absolutely no shame about wanting to develop it and use it for our case.
Thank you very much. I'm sure many people agree with you that first and foremost, Nigeria's needs need to be addressed firstly. We are going to open the conversation up to our audience. Know that Dorcas does have the mic, and while she does see who would like to ask you a question, before we open it up, I do want to ask you another personal question. Now, in the research that we've been doing, it turns out that are you a twin yourself, or do you come from a line of twins? I just wanted to know where that comes from. I say that because I have a personal affinity to twins. They tend to find themselves in my own life. But I would like to ask you about your family background and how your own leadership style has grown out of who you are as a person.
Well, thank you very much. My grandmother had 2 sets of triplets. Okay.
Wow.
My 2 sisters had twins. On my wife's maternal side, her mom is a twin.
Wow.
And all her sisters had twin children.
Wow.
Maybe for me and her, we're exception to the rule. So I have 3 boys, but that's about it. But let's talk about a family.
Yes.
I mean, family is very strong, and family is very important, and it helps you in many fundamental ways to be who you are. I guess I've been very blessed. I mean, I work hard. I'm never at home for my sons, but I've had a very homely spouse,
Yes.
homely wife, who had taken absolute responsibility for developing our children.
Yes.
So when I look back, I mean, I'm a very happy man because I really have a happy home.
Good.
And I think that's something that I'm very grateful
Yes.
that I have been endowed with. But family has been a fundamental part of my success as a businessman.
Well, I love to hear that. And that, as you said, it is a huge blessing to not only have a family, but to have a good family. And you say that your family have definitely contributed to your success. So that is a blessing, and we are sending our blessings to your family. I wonder now to our wonderful audience, there's quite a few people here. If there's anyone who would like to ask a question, please do raise your hand. I think Dorcas has the microphone. Otherwise, to the gentleman in the front row here, I will give you my microphone, and you can ask Doctor your own question, and we can take it from there. Please do. Please do introduce yourself and just one question.
Okay.
Sorry.
Thank you so much, Dr. Fatona. So my name is.
I'm sorry, gentlemen. Sorry, if you could stand up.
Okay. So my name is Dr. John Bosco. That's my name. That was something I want to say here. We are getting younger compared to the last time I met you in one of the NAPE conference where you're talking over there. So my question is this. How do you strike the balance considering the challenges in Africa?
I'm going to interrupt you there just because it sounds like you've got a very important question. I want to make sure that all of our audience can hear you.
Okay.
If you could just start again, we'll try the mic and see if that's okay. If not, you can take my mic.
It's okay. So I said he's getting younger when I compare the last time I met him in one of the conferences. Okay, one of the conferences with NAPE. So I listened to your talks. So my question comes in this way. How do you strike the balance? Considering the challenges in oil, in African oil, starting from complex in geological formation, so go to the finance in it. How do you strike the work balance with your family? And you are doing this thing. You told us now how you're going to Sudan, run all those nights. How do you strike the balance? Thank you.
Well, the balance I would say comes from what I call teamwork. And I think the most important thing that I want everybody to recognize is that in our business, there's nothing that any one of us does in one day as a job that is a finished product. In other words, you can say, I started this and I finished it. So our business and our life is like a conveyor belt. And in that kind of system, you have to build a team amongst yourself. A team that you respect, a team that respects you, and a team that shares your vision, as it were. In other words, we all say to ourselves, this is where we are, this is where we are going. And once we have all agreed on our destination, then walking ourselves towards that destination becomes our common goal. It becomes our common shared vision. So team and teamwork, it's a very, very fundamental requirement in the balance that you have asked me.
Thank you very much. We will continue with the questions, but before we continue with the questions, it is my pleasure to also introduce and recognize the presence of the president of the Society of Petroleum Engineers, a gentleman by the name of Olivier Ouze. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. You're more than welcome. Please stand up, sir. If you could, I hate to put you on the spot, but we'd love to hear your thoughts, just a few remarks.
Okay, I've really been put on the spot. Riverson said, and then I sit, and now I have to talk. Okay, well. Just a comment. I attended the first panel session this morning, and okay, I will not discuss about the content of the discussion, but just imagining myself 5 years ago and listening to what people were speaking about, like the integration of Internet of Things in the LLM and things like this, and there will be a lot of terms that I would not even have heard of, and this is now here in ICE integrated. Everybody seems to understand what we are speaking about. So it just gives an idea of the speed at which things are evolving, not only in Nigeria, actually, but actually everywhere. And this is a thing that I got this morning to say, this thing that was new 2 or 3 years ago is now totally and casually integrated in our things. And this is just sort of small samples, like a few data of where we are going. So it's just pretty exciting. I don't know if I'm answering your question, but okay, that's what I wanted to say.
Thank you so much, and you're welcome. Thank you for joining us. We will continue. Please do take a seat. Stay with us. We're really enjoying your presence here. And we will continue with if you could stand up, gentlemen, with our pump. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Chamaka Okejaya, and I work for Baker Hughes. I'm the technical lead for Wellboy Intervention. Thank you, sir, for this session and for the sweet transition from Shell to Renaissance. I have a question for you, sir. If you had I heard you speak and you said you have 3 sons. If you had a daughter in oil and gas, young like me, I like to sit among my elders and listen to them. What would be the one big advice you would give your daughter, young, to enable her progress in a male-dominated environment? Thank you, sir.
Well, thank you very much. If you know my work environment, there are loads of young people, male and female. And there are no exceptions. Indeed, I must tell you, the most hardworking people that I know, are ladies. So I can say that if I had the good fortune of a daughter in the profession, one thing I'm going to tell her: stay focused, because focus brings recognition. It brings outstanding performance. And the other thing that I would say is that not just being focused, develop yourself. Because a lot of people don't know how to develop themselves. Developing yourself is, first of all, believing in yourself. Believing in yourself that you can do whatever you tell yourself you want to do. That is very, very important. Self-belief is the buzzword I'm going to give to my daughters.
Thank you, sir.
Just one comment, sorry. You start me, then I don't stop. Just for this male-dominated environment, next year's SP president will be a lady, Jennifer Miskimins. Following year's president will be Susan Holmes, another lady, which means that next year there will be 3 presidents and I will be alone, and I will be in a female-dominated environment. So, no, I mean, first of all, I agree that there are still a lot of things to do. But, I think that our industry doesn't have to be ashamed in terms of, let's say, the position of women. And again, I've seen that in the last 40 years, it is moving, and it is moving in the right direction. And again, I mean, you have to sympathize with me.
So we'll move on to Omasop Energy Services Limited.
I know someone had a question here. Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Fatona. I want to say, my name is Soprucho Woka. I'm the managing editor of Oracle Newspapers Limited. Our colleagues are here too. We have followed things around you, and you appear to be a different breed of Nigerian professionals. In one of our arguments, we have always argued and thought about why Nigerians can partner themselves. They want foreign partnerships. But now you have demonstrated that you can partner Nigerians successfully, and you have one of the largest web of partnerships, businesses that are thriving on working partnerships. So what exceptional thing do you think, what exceptional factors do you think that are making your partnership successful?
Thank you very much. You are very, very right. For example, Aradel today has more than maybe like 2,000 shareholders. They are essentially Nigerian entities, individuals, whatever you have, school teachers, nurses, doctors, lawyers in the shareholding. And then you come into ND Western, 4 companies.
Okay.
Aradel, Walter Smith, First EMP, Petroli, and then you come into Renaissance. The most important thing that has guaranteed our success is the mutual respect that we have for ourselves as entities. Every company has its own virtues, has its own values, has its own strengths, its own weaknesses. But the most important thing for us is that we can come to the table only with our positives on top of the table. I mean, we all have, like I said, as a company, we all have strengths. And if we put all our strengths, the good ones, on the table, we'll have a very big harvest. And that's what happened. That is what has happened in our case. Self-respect, understanding and mutually defining our goals, and holding to those goals, and defending those goals and those values. That has helped us. I am very, very proud of our association of 4 companies that has come together in Renaissance. And quite frankly, today, Renaissance is a diverse culture of each of those companies that have come together to form the entity. Really, really, I'm very, very proud of who we are, and it stems from the fact that we can respect ourselves, we can come to the table, define our common goals, and pursue those common goals.
Well, when we're looking at the audience, they're just wonderful faces all over, and we will continue our question and answer session. But as I can see in the very front row here, we have Dr. Riverson Opong. It's so good to see you again. Welcome, please do. We're going to put you on the spot. We did the same with Mr. Oide. We're going to do the same to you. Please do stand up, introduce yourself, and give a few remarks before we continue our Q&A. Up you get.
All right. So good to see you, Femi. I think we had the same thing early part of this year in March or February. Sorry. And thank you, Chairman. I came late because I was on another panel, but everything that I just came to hear is something that we were discussing, and it resounds so much to me when it comes to common goal. Because for Africa to thrive, whether in the sector, not only in energy, right? We need to understand that we're coming together as a continent to achieve a common goal, and I'm very happy you mentioned that in your submission. So on behalf of SPE Africa, I want to thank Oida for what you do. Let's clap for Oida for what's happening today. And also to Femi, my good friend, for what you do for us. You're already an SP member, de facto, all right? You're an honorary member of Africa, don't worry. And everybody here, it is important because we are here to learn, and that's what SP does, giving the platform for us to share knowledge and also learn from people like you, Chairman, for all these years of experience. And I believe that nobody will go here without taking something home. We just have to reiterate what you are preaching and what Oida purpose is, and say that Africa is for Africans, and we have to make Africa great, and we will live in Africa and make it the home that we have to make it be. We still have a lot of opportunities here. I mean, gas to power, resource development, taking advantage of the entire value chain, adaptation to AI and technology is what we're discussing here. And I believe that everybody here means a lot to have understanding of what you're discussing. Once again, thank you, and thank you, Oida, and thank you, family. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Opong. So good to see you again. Alaji, you didn't know. Welcome. Congratulations. All right, we will continue on with our Q&A session. I believe the gentleman in the front row here has a question.
All right, so we're going to take 2 more questions because of time. I'm sure most of our dignitaries will stay behind for you to engage them after if you have more questions. So just 2 more questions, one on the side and one on the side, so we're fair. Okay, I have a young man there. Yeah, let's take from a young professional so we can hear from the perspective of a young fellow.
Good afternoon all. Thank you so much, sir, for your submission. Listening to you, you spoke passionately about the young professionals. You also mentioned that time will come when you're not able to do all of this and you need people to take over. You also mentioned that Nigeria needs Nigerians to develop the country. But there's a problem. Yesterday, we were at the YP workshop and Dr. Yala was there. He said something. He said, unfortunately, the people who need to make these policies were not in that room. What was the problem? The youth are leaving. Everybody wants to look for greener pasture, wants to go to outside the country to look for greener pasture. And we are looking at developing our country. These policies that we need, how are we going to develop them? How do we execute them? The Nigeria oil and gas industry is very influential. For example, we have done a lot when it comes to safety, when it comes to other aspects. We've developed our own systems. But as influential as we are, how can we influence those policies and ensure that there is an enabling environment for the young persons to thrive, for them to actually say, we want to remain here? I mean, look at it. If you were in the US, will Renaissance be here? No. So, Oida will not also be here if Dr. Emeka was not also here. So we are happy to have all of you, and we want to replicate that same, but these policies that will make us to stay, how can we actually plan for them and execute them?
Thank you very much. What you do not recognize is that today companies like Oida, All Data, whatever, Renaissance, Mark Patson across the fence there, we are creating very, very serious entities. And these entities would take responsibilities in their small niches for creating the kind of environment that allows young people to come in and thrive. The next logical step for us is to have a network that allows us to come together and even build bigger initiatives. And I can assure you, young people that leave Nigeria, they don't know what they are missing, but they will know very soon. Because for those of you who are resilient enough, who are pushful enough, determined enough to stay here, you are going to get the upper hand because you are here, because you are the ones that we are going to see, you are the ones that we are going to encourage, you are the ones we are going to employ as placement. When it is time for them to come, you will be the one to show them the road. You will show them the avenues. You'll be the ones to lead them. So I can assure you that those of you who are determined enough to look inward in Nigeria, look for opportunities here, and create opportunities for yourselves. I mean, all of us. Don't think that you must go and work for a Renaissance to make the difference. You yourself could start to think of what you can do, not just by yourself, but by a network of friends who will determine what is it that you can do for yourself, for society, for country, for industry. And I think what I'm going to encourage you to do is don't give up on yourself. And like I said, first of all, believe in yourself. Believe that whatever you think you want to achieve, you really can achieve it. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the wonderful presentation, sir. I'm Olu Fire Control. I'm a pipeline surveyor for Geologic Mapping Company Limited. I'd like to ask, sir, what strategies are you exploring, sir, to balance the short-term demand for fossil energy with the long-term demand of that of renewable energy and clean energy, sir, in Africa?
Well, I hear your question, but do I believe fossil energy is going to be short-term? Certainly not. I do not believe that fossil fuel has a very, very short reach in terms of its use and applicability for development of energy resources in Nigeria and everywhere in Africa. So I'm going to tell you that this is 2025. 10 years from today, we will still be having this conversation about fossil fuel. But remember that the abundance of fossil fuel, not only in Nigeria, and as you go into all other countries across Africa, new energy resources are being found. Look at Ivory Coast, Mozambique. Those countries are not going to find those resources and don't develop them. So I can assure you that for fossil fuel, the future is bright, the future is long, and I can tell you that rather than you believing that it will go out of fashion, I think other sources of energies will only always come to augment fossil fuel.
All right, thank you very much, everyone. Okay, I know I said two, but let's take one from another lady so we can be gender balanced and fair enough.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. My question has to do with community. I know that under Niger Delta, your former company before it changed to Aradel, you had an excellent community relations, and I think your company was the first to start this HCDT model, and it really worked. Now that you have 18 oil blocks under Renaissance, what are you doing to ensure that you replicate the same thing you did over there? I don't know, how are you going to manage the entire asset and replicate what you did under Aradel to ensure that we have an excellent community relationship? Thank you.
Thank you. The Petroleum Industry Act has literally formalized how to relate to communities. And thankfully, like you identified, it stemmed from the way we have managed our host community. And it's not about management, it is turning them into partners. When we went into Ogbele in 2004, we recognized that host community are not just something to manage, they are part of our business. And we took them as partners. That had paid off. What the PIA has done, it has really, really turned that into a law where your host community is part of your business. And thank God, we have done it on a very small scale. Now we have a much, much wider latitude, much wider footprint, and there's no way that whatever it is that we have done to achieve the incredible results of what we had in Arada, we can always bring it to bear in this bigger space that we have. And really, we are pursuing that. But we have been enabled today by the PIA.
Thank you very much, Dr. Fatona. You know, throughout a lot of our question and answer session, many people have spoken to you and asked you questions about how you can advise them in their careers. And the consensus across the board is that you have told them about the importance of self-belief. And so as we ask you the final question of our session today, you clearly are an embodiment of believing in self. At the very beginning of our conversation, you talked about how when you said you wanted to be a geologist, your brother said, no, not you, but you believed in yourself, and here you are. So if you could go back to your childhood, what advice would you give yourself about survival? Looking at the journey that you've lived so far, if you could go back to your childhood, would you do anything different? Or what advice would you give your childhood self about success in the future?
Will I do anything differently? Quite frankly, I ask myself this question. Absolutely no. I don't think there's anything that I've done in my life. I left Shell in 1985. If I'd had a chance to live that journey again, I possibly would have done exactly the same thing I did in 1985. Now, the advice I'm going to give to young people, again, I have said it in a very, very simple form. First of all, believe in yourself. If you really cannot believe in yourself, you can't be part of a team. You can't influence the team. You can't contribute to the team. So, again, the thing that I would like to say, even to people who are not just young people, is there is value in working as a team. Nobody, I mean, the simple story is that if you want to go on a journey, if you want to get there quick, go alone. But if you want to go there heavy and successfully, go as a team. Team effort, I must say, there's no success that we have had at Niger Delta that has been done purely by a solo idea. It has been always and always and always a collective idea that all of us subscribe to, and we decide we are going to pursue our goals as a team. Team, team, team.
Team. Dr. Layi Fatona, it has been an honor and our pleasure to listen to you. Thank you all for your time. And to our entire audience, thank you very much. To Oida Energy, again, thank you very much for having us here and hosting what was an excellent conversation. Thank you very much for all of your time here. And we're hoping that if you do want to meet with any of the people in our audience, Dr. Fatona himself, he is around for conversations, as is Dr. Opong, as am I. But firstly, I think we'll end this here with a lovely photograph, first of all.
Thank you
so
very
I can
much.
keep that to my records and show my family that I met one of my idols today. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, everyone. Right now, I'm going to call on my MD, and we have some awards to present to them. So please, let's stay seated so that we can take good photos.
Yeah. I want to thank Dr. Fatona for he's a mentor, my mentor. So I feel quite honored by this, and thank you for sharing something back to our community. I'd like to call on the SPI president to please present this award to him, if you don't mind. Yes. You can open it like this.
So next up is wide well control.
All right, so we'll take a group photograph with you, and that's the SPI presidents, the MDs.
Welcome. We want to thank you for stopping by.
Sure. Shall we take a step back? I'll just go you the bike.
Lovely lady here before. Very proud to exhibit here this year. We're excited about the opportunities in Nigeria. Mom has been here in Nigeria for
I'd like to have a presentation to Adefemi. Yes, I know. Thank you for keeping the faith going. Yes.
Thank you very much. This is such
Thank
a
you. We appreciate your contribution.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very much.
Thank you.
Part of your workshop. Oh, I'm so grateful. Thank you so much. This is wonderful.
Where's Dorcas?
I'm right here. All right, thank you so much. So please let's not go yet. We have a little refreshment for you, and we also have 1 or 2 packages, souvenirs for us. And please, so let's just give us 5 more minutes. I'd like to recognize the presence of our one-time council chair, Dr. Joe, Mr. Joe. Sorry, please just wave the house. And now a BOT chair. Thank you so much for being here. We also have a section director from Port Harcourt, Madam Ngozi Okonkwo. Please wave the house. Thank you for coming. Please come forward for group photos. The dignitaries I'm inviting or calling, please come forward. Thank you. And we also have our one-time section director, Port Harcourt section, Erasmus Nana Renaissance. Also, please wave the house and please come forward for a group photo, sir. We also have Mr. Peter.
I'd like to use the opportunity to recognize the Renaissance team here.
Please.
Yeah, please. We appreciate you. Please, can we give him a hand, please? Renaissance team here.
Thank you, Renaissance, for coming to give us your support during this. Please, let's take the group photograph. We also have our representatives and top management decision makers from Ohando. We have
cameraman, please. Where are you?
We also have Mr. Shola Emoyo here, General Manager for Wells Renaissance. Thank you so much for being here, sir. We appreciate your presence. Thank you, Mr. Emeka Durizor, one of our managers from Ohando, for being here. Mr. Emeka, please wave the house. Thank you. And thank you, our supporters from WAEP, Igenshare. Please, if you're around, please wave. Also from ND Western, thank you too for coming to give your support. Group photograph with the Renaissance team. Excuse me, please. We also have our supporters from NNPL, Sahara. Thank you so much for coming. We do recognize you and we appreciate. And we have lots of amazing young professionals from different organizations and different SPE sections here also. Thank you so much for being here. So the refreshment is ongoing. So if you're not taking the group photograph, please just make your way to my right and they will just serve you over there and you can come back to your seats. Yeah, go out the booth. They're here.
Who is stopping?
Okay, sorry.
Victoria. Please, also, we have one more presentation for our special guest. Is the SPI president still around? No. Okay. We'll just present to Dr. Layi and Adefemi.
This is the bag, right?
Yes.
No, I can see your face. How are you? How do you pull this off? So, where are you now? Yeah. You're way.
Hey, hello, Ross. How you doing? Well done.
Please, let's make sure we receive our souvenirs before we leave, especially our Renaissance team, please. Oh,
Thank you very much.
please, let's sit. The refreshment is coming round, or you can just step out and they'll serve you.
I have to keep this out. I'm so sorry. Thank you so much.
Because I know you, that's what your face, that was that.
Good afternoon, everyone. Confirm you can hear.
It's not 100, 3 to 10 more good years. Thousands and thousands, millions of barrels of oil. Those extra are the areas under this green line, So a typical well in Nigeria with 150 barrels per day, and you abandon it? If I told you that well can produce $5 million US dollar more oil doing this, you said, what about the cost? Yeah, here's a good news. If we increase $5 million, your actual cost doing this, 1%